Good afternoon, everyone. Um I'm Devanshu, or you can call me Dev from Scopely. Um who am I? Exactly. I'm a designer, developer, marketer, analyst, customer support manager, gamer, writer, and then probably a product manager. I know it has been 2 very exciting days, and I know that the weekend fever is uh, creeping in. Sorry. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Yeah. Uh, and yo, and the weekend fever is creeping in. So I'll try to keep my presentation quick, short, and black and white. Trust me, it's gonna. Oh. Anyway, um, so that's me. November made me grow my beard back. No shave November, I guess. So I'm going to talk about game product management as a career option, right? Um, like to start off, um, who wait, there's some issue. Uh, Sorry for that. Um, so let's do it this way. I'm going to list down the agenda anyway, but treat of this whole talk as a series of episodes. You're definitely allowed to leave midway of an episode, but feel free to stick around till an episode gets over, right? So we start off with some show off, like that's a fancy PM duties for sure. Um, we look at game product management as a, do you know it, or how exactly, what exactly is it? We look at partners of PM, who are your collaborators, um, whom exactly do you work with on a daily basis, right? A regular day in a so-called PM's life, it's a miserable day, to be very honest. And PM traits I strongly believe in. What are those traits which, according to me, should we be focusing on? And then at the end, steps to the CPO, the Chief Product Officer. Um, how exactly the career ladder looks like, right? And as I mentioned, I would want everybody to pay a good attention to this particular piece, which I'll cover at the end, the PM traits, according to me, right? Uh, so about me, I have been working for Scopely for the past 4.5 years. I've spent equal amount of time in Bingo Bash, my current studio, and at GSN Casino. The uh, both of these games are quite big names in the social casino industry, and at least I really love them a lot. So there's a question for the audience, right? How many mobile games have clocked $1 billion in lifetime revenue? $1 billion. That's a massive number. Any guesses? Yeah, but I'm like more about like a total count. How many, in totality, how many games have clocked around $1 billion? Okay. Uh, if I talk about mobile games only, the number is close to 60. 60 plus mobile games have clocked around 1 billion lifetime revenue. I'm quoting Pocket Gamer here. And where exactly you think Bingo Bash stands, right? So I'll give some facts around Bash. Around 47 million users have laid their hand on our game till date. That's massive, right? They have played around 5 billion bingo rounds in the system. I'm talking more about Bash because the subsequent slides are interrelated to the game itself. I'll talk about the core, I'll talk about some features. So yeah, looking at these numbers, how much is Bash's revenue, lifetime revenue? That stands at a whopping $900 million. That's the kind of scale you are looking at in terms of lifetime rev. We are eyeing that 1 billion mark soon. Hopefully we'll get there soon. And if I have to talk about the total amount of gameplay time these 47 million users in their 5 billion rounds have spent, that is just north of 750 million gameplay hours. That's huge, isn't it? Okay. What exactly is Bash? This is how the game looks like, at least on a very high level. You buy the in-game currency, you compete with certain players, and you get bingos. Bingos gives you rewards, and rewards help you progressing in the game and in other progression systems. right? So who exactly is a product manager? Like, there is a lot of text on the internet which you can find, and I'm not going to code any of it, but one particular is my favorite. A product manager is an amalgamation of a business owner, a UI UX person, a footballer, maybe, a game designer, etc. and etc. But according to me, the very definition of product manager lies in these two words itself: a person who manages the product. It might be a very stupid explanation, but that's what I believe in, at least. Anyone who is responsible for making the product to be working at its optimally best case, that's a product manager. That product could be an app, could be a website, could be a game, anything and everything. Yes, there are a set of requisites, there are a set of qualities which he or she needs to possess, but at the end of the day, the product manager is the owner of the product. And where do product managers fit in mobile games? In that case, your product is the game itself. A PMs or set of PMs who are working on a new game or a live game have to make sure that the game is optimally best. The users are engaging continuously, they are liking the code loop, they are spending their time and enjoying it. Once the set of PMs are able to do it, if they are able to drive this behavior, that is where a win is for a PM, at least in gaming. Moving forward, we love dollars. Yeah, we do. Like, there's no discount to it, pun intended. But yeah, we do love dollars, right? And we love animations as well. You will see a lot of product managers presenting a lot of slides, a lot of animations, as I'm doing right now. So where exactly does a PM fit in? There are essentially two categories to it. One being a new game. What's a new game? Something which is not listed on the App Store yet. It's still under development. A lot of PMs are required in stages like market research. How should the design be? What should the core be? What should be the meta be? They collaborate with different teams. And then after the soft launch, they look at metrics and try to understand whether the game was a hit or a flop, what optimizations need to be made. That's the role of a PM in a new game. I have not worked for a new game yet. But then we look at live games. Whatever you play on your mobile phone, something which is already there on the App Store is a live game, right? You can take any example, Clash of Clans, Bingo Bash, anything. And in live games, there are essentially three verticals. One is the core content. Core is anything which is like basic to the game. Like every game has a core loop. For example, in Bingo Bash, it is your core bingo experience. In Clash Royale, it is you coming into the game, starting a round of fight, collecting the rewards, and then repeating it, something which you keep repeating turn after turn. That essentially is your core content. Product managers working in this vertical have to make sure that your core is always defined. It's always optimal. The second vertical being features. Anything that sits on top of the core, like metas, features, sales, events, levers, all these are categorized under the features vertical. A PM who is working under this particular lane makes sure that all these items are essentially the best. They are hitting those KPIs which we strive for. And at last, live ops, live operations. On a regular day, what changes need to be done in the game, what things go live, what sales should go live, which event to run, which theme to run. That's essentially a job of a product manager under the live ops lane. Moving forward, what do we chase as PMs? Greatness. At least I do, and I've been trying to do it for quite a while, and I think the budding PMs should also do that. But if you want to look at those KPIs, what are those KPIs which PMs really target on a day-to-day basis, essentially in gaming? Customer satisfaction is one key piece which at least I believe PMs should target. I have realized it over years, and a lot of PMs I see are blindsided by engagement metrics, revenue metrics, which essentially is not bad, but at the end of the day, we need to understand that a player is spending his or her time in the app. They are deciding to spend their crucial time, pay us, so we have to make sure that their satisfaction is what we are looking for. So player satisfaction, at least for me, is the very first thing which PMs in gaming should chase. Then engagement. If players are satisfied, they will play your game more. They will come back, they will play it hours and make sure that they're enjoying the whole experience. And if they play your game more, they're going to come back to your game every day, every week, every month, every year. We have players in our game where a lot of them have been playing Bingo Bash for more than 3 to 5 years or even more. And once you have nailed down this player satisfaction, this engagement, and the retention metrics, then comes to dollars. If a user is enjoying your app, he or she likes to play it often, he or she is coming back to play it again and again, you are going to hit those revenue targets. You are going to meet your budget numbers. And then, at the end, you also try to attract more users. You try to grow your audience, which, again, is one of the things which PMs should really look for. So I think a lot of you would have heard this. Jack of all trades is a master of none. That's a PM, essentially. But have you heard the second piece of this quote? Jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes is better than master of one. Now, I'm not saying that PM is better than everybody. Please don't take me wrong on that. What I'm trying to make a point here that a PM is not a specialist. A PM cannot write the best SQL codes out there. A PM cannot design the best levels out there. A PM cannot give the best art direction, but he or she has to make sure that they collaborate with these specialists in order to hit that goal, which in silos, these specialists would not be able to do by themselves. So that's what I have a strong feeling about product managers. And not just gaming, but in general as well. So I'll take an example of a feature which we recently worked on, and it proved to be a great success. And the reason of bringing this example is to essentially cover which functions do product managers work on a daily basis in the gaming industry. So I'll take a minute to explain this. That's a cute dog, right? We call it Chippy. Chippy's Chow Down is a feature where once you feed Chippy with treats, it's going to give you buffs or power-ups, essentially, which are going to help you in your core loop. Now, who are our partners, right? As I mentioned, you feed Chippy with treats. Chippy gives you hearts. It fills the heart meter. And after the heart meter is full, Chippy goes berserk and gives you dynamites on your core gameplay. Now, this whole flow, this whole design, there are more elements to it, like when should Chippy come in, which level should the feature unlock. All of this needs to be driven by the product manager and the game designer. In my opinion, game designers are your best friend. They have to make sure that whatever feature they are working on, whatever flows they are working on, it essentially hits those KPIs, right? The game designer on this feature is sitting right there in the orange t-shirt. Hey, Adi. Look at the second thing. When we look at these elements, right, the positioning of these elements, the flows, how should the dynamites come on the card? How should Chippy wiggle his tail, right? All of this is driven by the UI UX team. The product manager has to make sure that they are in constant touch with them. Now, the game design and UI UX are essentially categorized under the pre-production phase, right? They are essentially, in this phase, the trio sits down, creates a lot of documents, creates a lot of presentations, and then once it is, like if all the stakeholders are on board with it, then it goes to the next phase, which is essentially production. That is where the game or the feature or anything comes from a piece of paper into the actual app, right? And in this whole phase, there are a lot of parties which are involved with which the PMs have to collaborate. To start off, anything to do with colors, anything to do with character design, anything, that's art. Anything to do with animations, how the flows should be in the actual game, that is tech art. Writing tons of code, making sure that the feature is as good as you want it to be in the game, kudos to the engineering team. And then, who makes sure that the feature which you have worked on or the game which you have worked on is just, the experience is seamless, there's no bug or issues? The QA team. Now, the PM has to be in collaboration with all of them in the production phase as well. He or she has to keep reviewing the game, keep reviewing the feature, keep playing it in order to make sure that it is optimally best. And why? Because you are the product manager. You own this thing, correct? Moving forward, once the feature is there on your app, it has to go for a launch. That's a very critical piece. So there are a lot of promotions around it, something like this, which are inside the app. Then you have social media promotions. You have emails. You have push notifications. You have to collaborate with the marketing team for this. You have to make sure that the users not only know about the feature inside the game, but also outside the game, right? And then comes the moment of truth. Once you have launched the feature, whether the feature has given you those good results, whether the sale has given you those results, you have to dig into data, try to understand where you are landing after your thing has gone live. And for that, you have to collaborate with the analytics, right? So these are the different key functions which you will work with on a day-to-day basis, right? There are other functions as well, like legal, central data, central strategy, but we can keep them aside for now. I'll skip them for today. So how does a regular day of a PM look like? One of my favorite slides. It's going to be a slightly longer one, but I'll split it into 3 pieces. The first one is more on an operational side. The day of a PM or a product manager starts off with scrums. What essentially is a scrum? A meeting where all the functions come in and talk about where exactly is the feature or the project we are working on, where exactly is it in terms of development or pre-production, right? They give updates, and then there are follow-ups. Then, yeah, I like this sticker a lot. Firefighting. What exactly is it? Reacting to the environment. What if Chippy goes crazy one day and your metrics are down? What if you're not getting that much of engagement or revenue? You have to run around. You have to talk to analysts. You have to talk to the development. Is something wrong? What needs to be done? What changes need to be done on the app? That is a key piece in firefighting, and I will categorize them under operational pieces for a day, right? Then you have feature-specific things or like tasks to do. Brainstorming. What are different ideas which you can gather, which can go live in the app and can scale our KPIs? Competitive research. Play different games. I play a lot of games. I love a lot of games. I love a lot of social casino games. So you have to go back and play and try to understand why have certain games done certain features in a certain way. Prioritization. Once you have a set of ideas, you need to prioritize them. What we should build, what has the most impact, what is the least cost effective methods. I think previous talks covered this piece, right? Stakeholder management. Once the PM, the game designer, the UI UX folks are clear on what they want to build, which is going to create an impact, you have to make sure that the stakeholders are agreeing to it, right? And then the production cycle. What I just explained, the art, the tech art, everything comes in. And then the launch, the key piece. So this I would categorize under feature-specific tasks or the place where a PM has to spend his or her day. And then at last comes data digging. This never stops, guys, never. Like any day and every day you will be working on some sort of analysis. You have to. Like it could be a feature, it could be something going wrong. You have to look at those numbers. So feature analysis keeps going on. And then it's just not looking at those numbers, but trying to learn from them. What optimizations do we need to make? What feedback we have to give to the team so that they can optimize the feature? And that essentially, I call it data dwelling, which is going to continue every day, right? So that's a lot, no? That's how my day looks like after a long day. But this is still fine, This is still colorful. That's how I prefer it, like a black and white day. I think that joke did not land well, no? I can understand. But so will a lot of your features. A lot of your features will fail, just like this joke. People will hate your features. People, because I don't see anybody laughing, sir. Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll take that. Okay. But okay. But the point I'm trying to make is a lot of your features will fail. Like you just cannot avoid it. But you have to make sure that you keep moving on. You strive for that greatness. You remember that slide? Okay. Uh, moving forward, key traits. Again, one of like this is my favorite slide. Okay. And what are the key traits of a product manager? And if you take it a step forward, a successful product manager, according to me. Okay. First thing, knack for gaming. You have to play games. There is, okay, sorry, there's no going back to it. You have to play games, right? It cannot be that you just come in and you're like, I want to be a product manager in gaming. Yes, you can be, but you need to understand what other games are doing and not just play it as a player, but try to deconstruct it. Essentially, try to understand why certain decisions are taken in a certain way, why certain flow is done in a certain way, why a certain event is running during Christmas, why a certain sale is running on a Monday. You need to pay attention to all of this, right? And hence have a knack for gaming. Second is numbers. You have to be good with numbers. There's no denial to it. I used to believe this might not be important, but I changed my stance. You have to understand those trends. You need to know, you need to derive a story out of it. You need to spot inconsistencies. You have to figure out what those problems could be and grasp it. You have to be good with number, guys. Curious. Curiosity is the key. If a product manager is not asking questions, then I don't think he's a product manager. You have to ask why, how fast. On anything, it could be a sale, it could be a feature, it could be as simple as why are users coming on a Monday and not on a Tuesday. You have to be curious, guys. Then, low-hanging fruits. I've seen a lot of PMs want to work for bigger features, going back to the greatness slide. We all strive for greatness. But in that, we miss out on smaller pieces. There are a lot of examples, or there are a lot of examples which you will find where the effort is lower, but the impact could be higher. And those are low-hanging fruits. Good PMs always go forward for the low-hanging fruits. Not that they do not look for the bigger picture, but that is one key piece to recognize. The next one being breaking down the whole thing into smaller chunks, be it analysis, be it a feature design, be it a presentation, right? Good PMs or in general PMs should be able to break the whole piece into chunks and try to work on them piece after piece. Again, pun intended, right? Follow-up. I have struggled on this a lot at the start of my career. I still do, I think. But following up is a very key piece. Things are not going to happen on their own. No way. Nobody. Remember, jack of all trades. You are not a specialist. You have to follow up. Any analysis which you are doing, whatever is the optimization, you have to tell the team and then follow up whether that is done or not. And that is for anything, like even as simple as an email. If you have sent an email, you have to follow up and close that loop. That is a very key piece or a very key trait for a PM. And then at the end, what I have been doing from the past 25 minutes, I guess, storytelling. Right? Good PMs are good storytellers. You will look at a lot of data, right? The numbers one. You have to be good at numbers. You will look at a lot of data, but the other team members will not understand it, right? You have to be very plain in your words when you're explaining something. It has to be stitched under a story, right? And good PMs do it really well, right? So that, according to me, are key traits of a product manager, right? Moving forward, career ladder. I won't spend too much time on this. I actually want to answer a lot of questions. But the point which I wanted to bring here is a question which I am asked quite often. Like, do you need a prior gaming experience to become a product manager in gaming? Or if I extend that question a bit further, do you need prior gaming experience to come into the gaming industry? The answer to it is absolutely no. That's what I believe in, right? If you look at the ladder, you start with an APM. That's where I joined, product manager, senior PM, lead, principal, director, GM, CPO, and then I'm not sure what lies after, but yeah. But I know a lot of industry veterans on all these steps of the ladder who have started outside of gaming. My current director of product, she started at Zynga as an APM after working in Cognizant for 2.5 years, right? Uh, my previous boss and my very good friend, Mr. Ram Murthy, he joined Scopely as a principal PM after working in companies like Deloitte, QMath. Um, our current GM, Mr. Vatsa Narasimhan, industry veteran again, he joined gaming at starting from Zynga after working for 10 years in non-gaming initiatives. So the point I'm trying to make here is, if you have the right mindset and if you have the right skill set, you can always get in at any point in time. So there's nothing stopping you, according to me, right? So are you interested? Uh, I hope you are, right? I hope this talk made some sense. And I hope you make through it. I actually hope you make through. But if you do, just keep this thing in mind, right? I am still trying to figure out the first piece of it. I hope you guys figure out the whole of it, right? Um, thank you. So we have a lot of time for questions. Absolutely, sir. This one? Oh. Any questions? I am open to questions.
Hello, I'm in tech field,
Okay.
but I want to know what are the scope as a tech guy for a product manager.
So I would link your question to the slides, the trade slide again, right? I think as a, like, if I understand correctly, you're a back-end or a front-end engineer, right? So if for developers, so okay, let me take a step back. Is your question around getting into product management or in gaming? In product management, right? So yeah, I'll go back to my trade slide. If you have a knack for gaming, if you are good with numbers, and all those, right, whatever I mentioned, I think you can definitely try. I don't think there's anything stopping you. Because I know people who have gone from developer to, he's with me, he's smiling, from developer to production to product and then game design. So there's a vast, like spectrum of movement which can happen. So I definitely think, why not? Yep. Did I answer your question, by the way? Cool.
Hi, so my question is sort of similar to his. So I'm a fresher.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of the roles I see require around 2+, 3+ years of experience. And talking to other PMs, they recommend, doing product teardowns. Some would recommend making games. So personally, I would ask you, like, which do you prefer, one over the other, to like build your portfolio and break into product management?
Can you repeat your question? Sorry, I'm not fully clear.
Okay, so to get, let's say, a PM role as somebody who does not have a lot of experience, what would like your recommendations or tips be for them, along with the key traits that you
Okay.
mentioned?
So at least for gaming, right? Like I think um, to start off, you need to know the industry, what is going on, what are the key trends, right? Not going too deep into it, but even like high level understanding will be good. Uh, Game teardowns, deconstructions is a nice way to understand why other games have done certain things in a certain way. That would really help, right? Some product certifications might also add into it, because if you go to a recruiter and tell them that, dude, I have done these certifications, I can talk about any game out there, this is what my learning has been, and this is what I believe in, I think they would like you. So that's my recommendation. At least I would like you. Yes, sir, please.
Hi, my name is Nalin Savara. My question is that you were explaining this example of Bingo Bash game, and you are from a company called Scopely. So is Bingo Bash a product of Scopely, or or is Scopely some kind of company that supplies project managers on contract, or is it your previous company, or what?
Okay. Scopely is a developer slash publisher of games. They have a lot of genres of games, like their biggest game being Monopoly Go right now. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about it, right? So we, our game, this falls under Scopely. We are one of the studios of Scopely, right? So Scopely has multiple studios across multiple locations. So in India, we have Bingo Bash, and we have GSN Casino, and then we have a few more smaller games. In different locations, we have other studios who work on different games. So does that answer your question?
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you again for the awesome talk.
Thank you. We've still got 10 minutes, guys. I think I wrapped up too quickly. Great. Yeah, please.
This was a nice speech. So to start a career as a APM or PM, any knowledge in MBA or certificates like CAPM or PMP is required?
Okay, so there's a certain nuance to it. I joined as an APM, but I joined after my business degree.
All right, MBA.
But I loved gaming, so I think that's how I got through. So, but to answer your question, yes, I think a degree definitely helps,
All right.
but it's again not mandatory. Like that's what I like the question which he asked, right? The gentleman ahead of you. If you have those traits, and if you have certain certification, and if you have a certain understanding in terms of feature tear downs, game tear downs, I think that should be good enough to start off. Because a lot of companies have APM roles where they hone PMs, where they teach PMs what needs to be exactly done. So I think as an APM, it can work. Might not be as a product manager, but definitely a step lower.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, did I answer your question? I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Ishan. It was a really good session. I wanted to ask about numbers. So you said we have to be really good with numbers. So is it, I wanted to know what the scope of that is. Is it statistical thinking, or does it go as far down into, say, being able to run regression models and data science for, predicting how your features are going to do as well?
Yeah. So uh, I think for the numbers piece, right, I think you don't need to, a sound knowledge of, let's say, regression models or, like basic models should be fine. But again, I go back to the specialists. You have data guys, you have ML guys in your team, which will help you. I think the point which I wanted to make was that you need to be clear as to what you're looking at, and you need to be able to draw conclusions or look at trends. What kind of story is that telling, right? If you want to run models, yes, modeling is great. Like I build models, not every day, but I try to, I guess. But you have specialists who are going to help you to take a step deeper. Like just to show off again, is a data 95% significant or not? Maybe you don't need to say that. Maybe the analyst will help you.
Yeah, there are some companies actually who want more of an APM who has more knowledge around metrics and very analytics based, and there are some who are sort of like, okay, we want more ideation and feature based. So I wanted to kind of see how far in, as someone who wants to go in,
Yes.
maybe I consider maybe a data science course as well, like an extra certification or something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
again, there's again a nuance to it, right?
Yeah.
Companies who want more of analytical role, apparently they are looking for somebody who wants, they need a product manager who might be working for features or live ops, right? I think that slide
Yeah.
which I was presenting. But if they want somebody who has worked on like more of an ideation, like as you said, if they want somebody who has good ideas, that might be for the core or let's say for a new game altogether. That's what I think.
Yeah, that differentiation is helpful. Thank you so much.
Cool, great. Yeah.
Hi, Devanshu.
Hey.
So one of the key traits that you mentioned for a PM was storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
So my question on that is, most of the other key traits, I guess, is something that you can practice and improve on. But storytelling ideally should be something that comes naturally to you. Do you have specific action items or something where, like, how you can improve on storytelling part of an
Did you
individuality?
say it should naturally come from? I strongly disagree to it.
Okay.
You don't know how many times I have given this presentation near the mirror, right? I am not a good storyteller. I'm trying to be one, right? So I think like all other traits, it has to come with practice. You have to work on it, right? Yes, definitely there's a learning curve, right? When you talk more, when you present more, I have done, I don't know, maybe like thousands of presentations here, my stakeholders. Some of them are sitting here, right? I am giving, it's a test for me, by the way, right? So it slowly builds up, right? And when you talk more, when you present more, you're eventually going to become better at it. I hope my next presentation is better than this one, right? So I don't think it comes to some, it does, I agree. But to many, you have to practice, you have to.
So is it just about the practice, or are there any methods that you're following for it?
Yeah, I think that you will find a lot of material on the internet as to how can you make your storytelling better. I would skip that for this talk, but I think you can definitely find them, what methods are there, right? Absolutely, please.
Awesome, thank you.
Consume stories that people have told. Like if you watch very closely Steve Jobs' presentations, you'll get lots of ideas to improve your presentation. If you read short stories, like in 8 pages, an author describes a scenario of a man in jail, and then the man realizes he's dreaming. It teaches you how to put things in front of people. So that's one way to improve your storytelling.
Thank you, sir. Yep. Yeah. A lot. We do it a lot. Friday evenings are quite a bit of like it. Yeah, yeah. Yes, ma'am. You had a question. Yeah. So, like, let me put it this way. Like, to a good extent, it's okay. I'll repeat the question: how a gaming PM differs from a regular PM. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, to a good extent, the tasks, the qualities, the traits remain the same. But I think the key piece there, and it's just not gaming PM or e-commerce PM or I don't know, you can name any industries, right? I think there's always a certain trait required which has to do with the industry knowledge. How much, like I play games a lot, right? So if you ask me what 10 games, I can maybe tear them down right now, right? So similarly, who is an e-commerce PM, he'll know a lot about the supply chain, the operations, and those things, correct? So I think that is one key difference. But a major portion, I think if I just change the company name and the games, I think I can give it as regular PM as well. But I think the traits overlap a lot, right? Did I answer your question or?
No, you did. I just wanted to ask about, in normal PMs, you have a lot of conversations with the business teams, maybe some other operation sides. But in the gaming industry, you are you are interacting with the visual designers a lot, maybe your artists a lot. So how does that differ? Like,
Okay, so I'll go back to this slide to answer this question, right? So at least for us, I think there's too many animations. As I said, we love animations. But for us, at least here at Scopely, we handle the roadmap. We handle the business decisions which need to. We, as in the PMs, we have to make sure that our revenue targets are hit, right? And then we also collaborate with other teams. In a lot of games, in a lot of products, there's something called the BI, not a BI team. Like there's business development team, which is separate, which handles the top line and the bottom line. But here, we do it. It differs company to company, right? A lot of games might have a different structure, but like that's how it is here. Am I answering your question? Yeah. Cool. Yes. Yes.
For many of our aspiring PMs, what is the fine line between a PM and a producer?
Yes.
So, so that nobody can get confused and they know exactly what they're doing, what they should be striving for.
Exactly. Yes. Sure. So, the line between a PM and a what? A producer, right? So, in terms of responsibilities, right? At least in gaming, a lot of gaming companies, PMs own roadmaps. They own features. They own the core content. They own the KPIs. But when it goes into production, essentially, let me go back. Yeah, essentially these phases, right? Where you have all these teams. So a producer makes sure that all of this is being delivered on time, right? Like like a PM collaborates, yes, with different teams, but the producer makes sure that all of it is being done at the right pace. It gets delivered on time. And that is a very key piece and a key difference as well. In a lot of companies, at least in the in the Indian gaming market, yes, there is some overlap between producers and product managers, but at least in my case specifically, or in our company's case, we own the metrics. Like we own those numbers, and production makes sure that we get to the market right on time, right? So that is one key difference. Yes. We still have a couple of minutes, so I think we can take a question.
Thank you, Devanshu, for that insightful look into what goes into a PM's job. It was really interesting, and
Yeah.
thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
I'm Sahil, and I'm interested in working on the people side of things. I mean, whether that's the production team, their health, and them, creating space for them to collaborate, as well as the end user or player's experience. So that's really my focus. My question to you is, how can a PM without an MBA, where is it that they can add value?
Okay, that's a tricky one actually. Can you repeat how PMs without an MBA they can add value, right?
Yeah, where can they add value?
And is it just like, is it like a high level question or specific to gaming?
Related to gaming.
So again, like I know, I'll answer it in a slightly different way, right? So I know PMs who are not MBA grads. Let me make it very clear. Like the entry points to PM can come from other divisions as well. I know analysts who have become PM. I know game designers who have become PM. I know developers who have become PMs, right? So just because you have a degree from a good MBA, I think I'll curse myself later, but that doesn't mean you can become a very good PM. And the other things which I mentioned, right, the other key traits, I think those are independent of how, whether you are an MBA grad or not. I think these traits you develop over time. Even if you don't have an MBA degree, I think you have, if you have these qualities, you can essentially add it to any cycle of your game development or a future development, right? So that's how I look at it. Like I work with PMs who are not MBA graduates, but they are very good thinkers. They are very good with numbers. They are very good at taking advantage of those low-hanging fruits. So I know a PM who has come from fashion design. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but then he went to Ahmedabad. I'm Ahmedabad. But yeah, that's but anyway, I hope I answered the question, yeah?
So if I've understood you correctly, then if you have these traits, then that's really what you should highlight and, right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Those degrees help, but they are not like key blockers, at least according to me.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Can I take one more question? The time is almost up. Yes, please. Okay, so two parts to your question. The first part, the difference, right? A project manager and the word producer is used quite interchangeably, right? So whatever I explained, the fine line, a producer who makes sure that everything is getting delivered on time is to some extent a project manager. Like we don't, like at least at Scopely, we don't have project managers as such, but on a high level, the responsibilities are the same, right? So that's how I would put it. And what was your second question in terms of responsibilities? I missed that. To some extent, there's a slight nuance of semantics, but like at least whatever I have learned over these years, it is very different. Like a product manager and a producer / project manager have different responsibilities, right? As I said, product managers own the product. They make sure that whatever you work on, the game hits those KPIs, whereas producer / project manager makes sure that it is done right on time, right? Because you can hit those KPIs maybe after 5 months, but you need to do it now, and that is where they help us. Cool? Thank you.